Hi team, good morning. As you may know, I'm Jordan Ojeda, full-stack developer here at Novik, and today I'm going to be talking to you about one of the new features that is being integrated in Geartset, and that it has to do with data integration. So in order to do that, I'm going to go through this agenda. First, an introduction just to show you, basically just to put the theme on the table, motivations and advantages, where I will be trying to answer the question about why do we need this, or why would we interested on this. Quick comparison, basically just to compare some tools that we already know and this new approach. A quick demo just to show you basically how it works. Some limitation, expectation, we're talking about that later. At the end, a quick summary about the session and a space where you can ask your questions, so I will be able to answer if I can. So let's start by the beginning. Geartset. So you may know Geartset, but if you don't, well, in a nutshell, I would say that Geartset is a tool that allows you to do what you do with changes, basically deploy metadata from one organization to another. It happens that nowadays, the creators are working on a new feature to allow us not only to deploy metadata, but this time data. All of it providing a similar experience. Basically, they're looking for to provide in the same way that they are do with the deployment. With a normal deployment, they wanted to provide us a functionality to deploy data. Basically, in that way, we don't need to learn two different pipeline, let's say. So one of the focus here is to provide the same experience, let's say. So, but why would we need that? Why is the motivation behind this deployment of data? Well, in order to do that, in order to understand that, we can take a look to the deployment life cycle, to the development life cycle, I mean. So we can summarize it by pointing out four key steps: planification, building or coding, testing, and deployment. So let's evaluate the last two steps, starting by testing. What happens? Sometimes when we are testing our application, we need to create data. Sometimes it's easy because maybe the logic behind our solution is easy enough to allow us to create data by ourselves and even to replicate common scenarios, or let's say real scenarios. But it happens that sometimes those scenarios are not easy to replicate. In fact, for example, when you are creating things like a batch where you need to test with a lot amount of data, it would be great to have a tool that allow you to copy that data from, let's say, the production environment to put it in your organization without the necessity to do a refresh, for example, and all of it in an easy way and as fast as possible. Something similar happens in the deployment phase, where, for example, when you are creating a solution where you have things like custom settings. So in that case, you need to do a deployment, and then you need to go to the organization, in this case it will be the production organization, and create your data. In that case, you can go by hand if you have a few custom settings, and in those custom settings you have some just few records. It's not a problem, but the problem is when you have a lot of data to create. So in those cases it could be a little more cumbersome. Again, an application like that, a tool like that would be great, because in that case just we will need to specify the data that we want to deploy, and with a couple of buttons we will be done. So besides, during the maintenance of the application, it's common to find bugs. So in those cases we can just copy the, let's say, records associated, or the records that can we use to reproduce that bug. We can copy from the organization, the production organization, to our organization to test. So this is when Geartset comes in. Basically, this new feature allows you to copy the data from one organization to another. So basically you need to specify the source, the target, the data that you want to pass, and with a click you will be ready to go and do whatever you need to do with that data. But now at this point I'm pretty sure that you will be wondering about, yeah, but what about the tools that we already know? So what we can do is just take a look at the process that you need to go through in order to use them. So let's start by the scenarios that we were talking about, the manual approach, where you need to go and create record by hand, or if there are more, if you think you can create it by a script, well, you can develop a script. But what happened? Those scripts also requires time, and also require tests, because I wouldn't run those scripts directly in a production organization without even a test, because you could make a mess with the data there and it won't be funny. In that case, maybe you could go with any other tools, like for example data import wizard or data loader, maybe Workbench. In those cases the flow, let's say, are kind of similar, in the sense that you will need to, at the very beginning, you will need to get access to the organization, get authenticated against them. Then you will need to go to select the data that you want to pass. Finally, you will need to download the data. You will need to log in to the other organization, will be the target organization, and then finally you need to upload the data. Basically, here you are using kind of it could be a file like a CSV file, for example. Now let's take a look at this process, but this time using Geartset. So here, using Geartset, the first step that you need to do is basically register your organizations in Geartset. Now this could be optional, because let's say that you already did a deployment, so in that case you may have them already there, so you won't need to do it again. You just need to select your source organization, then your target organization, and that's it. And then you need to go to select your data, the data that you need to pass, so you need to deploy, and finally you can click on that magic button, deploy data, and you should be ready to go. So certainly it looks easier, but let's take a look, let's give it a try to see how it works. So in order to do that, I already have I created just 2 organizations that I'm gonna use to do this demo. Basically, there are two developer organizations. As you can see, we don't have data yet in account and in opportunities, for example. So, okay, in order to test this, the first step that we need to do is just register our organization. So, in order to do that, we just need to click here, a new organization. You will be asked for the username and the type of organization. In that case, we're using developer organization. So first, let's register the source, the one that we're going to use as source. Authorize. Then you will be asked for your credentials. Put our key, our password. Okay. And then we can put even a friend name. Okay, in that case could be something like this. Okay, so let's go with the other one, the one that we're gonna use as the target organization. Okay, again, our password is this. Oh, verification code. Okay, here we have it. This is basically the process that you need to do even to deploy something. You need to register. So basically, as you can see, is they are looking for the same process. Basically, they're looking for give us the same experience. In that case, will be a name like this one. Okay. So now that we have our organizations there, we just need to go to the home page and click here. As you can see, it's in beta. As I said, they are working on this. They say this. They say that they have some limitation because it's in beta. I mean, they are working on this, and well, we have some limitation there yet. So here what we need to do is just select our source organization and then our target organization. By the way, you could do what we did here with the managed organization. You could do you could provide your credentials here, so you can skip even the step that we did. But since we already did it, we just need to select them. So after this, you need to go to this button here. You need to click on this button, configuration deployment. Then you will see basically two panels, two views, let's say. So in this part, basically you will see in a tree structure, you will be able to see all the data that you can deploy. Basically, these are metadata, then you click on one of those. If, for example, if you want to deploy accounts, you click on this check, and as you can see, you will be able to see in a moment, I guess, you can even select not only the accounts but also the children relationship. At this moment, they support just one level, but they say that there could be more in the future. So this is a great functionality here. But in order to test this, let's create some random data in our organization. In that case, we will need that data in the source organization. In order to do that, I'm gonna use a script that I have to generate some accounts and some opportunities. So let's open this. Let's delete this. Great. Let's copy our script here. Okay, let's copy. So I'm gonna create basically 10 accounts and 10 opportunities, all of them associated to the accounts. Let's execute this. Okay, let's go to the account to see our new accounts. Here we have our new accounts. Let's go to the opportunities to see our new opportunities here. Great. So let's go back to Geartset. Now, in order to test even this functionality, what we can do is just deploy the opportunities. Let's go to the opportunities. Here we have the opportunities. Let's expand this menu here. Okay, let's select opportunity, and we can now select account because we want to deploy also the accounts associated with these opportunity records. So okay, perfect. Now here you can configure the quantity at this moment. As you can see here, this option query is not available yet, but it will be available at this moment. It doesn't make sense just to have this because you won't be able to specify exactly the records that you want to deploy. But as you can see, this is just because it's in beta, it's in development, but at least they already have part of the interface here, so eventually we will be able to use this functionality in order to define exactly the records that we want to deploy. So far we're gonna deploy the 10 opportunities that we created, and it should pass also the account. So once you have this, you just need to go through this button, redeployment summary. Basically here you will be able to see the process that we are about to do eventually. Okay, so as you can see, we have a list of steps here, and these lists are the steps that will be executed once we click on this button. So let's click to see what happens. Okay. It will take a while depending on the quantity of record. At this moment we are just deploying 10, so it should be quick. Okay, now let's go back to our organization. In that case, we're interested to see our target organization to see what happened. So let's go to the accounts, all accounts. Okay, so now here we have our accounts, and let's go to opportunity, all opportunities. Great. Now we just deploy our data from our source organization to our target organization. So let's go back to our presentation. Okay, here. Great. So as you could see, this feature is still in development. You can see this is beta. So talking about limitation is a little bit unfair in the sense that they are not actual limitations, they are just working on them. So, but anyway, we can talk about these expectations. So far, not all scenarios are covered. So basically things like custom setting are not supported yet, but they will. Production organization disabled. Basically, this is because it's still in beta, it's not prepared for a real scenario, so they took the decision of disable the production organization as a target. No deployment rollback. This could be a limitation. We'll see what happens if they will provide something to do a rollback. Maximum 2000 records. This is basically because they are not using the bulk API, but they say that it may change, and I think they will need to change that the API that they are using at this moment. Another, let's say, well, limitation at this moment, actual expectation, one diff level in the object tree. They say that eventually they will add more, and that's a great news. So, as a summarize, well, what we can say, what I would say is that we are in front of a great a great feature, and that provide us the ability to do an actual deployment. I mean, an actual deployment with data, and so we don't need to deal with this kind of files like CSV and things like that, and it's easy to use as well. Um, we are able to deploy not only the records that we want, but also we can go through the relationship, so we can deploy the children, and eventually we will be able to deploy the children of children. No rollback. This could be a limitation. We'll see what happens in the future. They talk about the possibility to increase the limit. I guess they will need to do that because it's something that seems to be I'm not sure if easy, but it makes sense. Another good news is that since they are at this moment, let's say, starting by all of this, they are kind of open to the community, so we can go and talk to them to let them know about our needs, and probably they could include some of new features in order to cover our needs, and that's great. In fact, they say that all of it started by just talking with people and understanding their needs in order to do what they need to do. So we can take advantage of this as well. Well, now it's time to you to speak. Let me know if you have any questions. Don't hesitate to ask if you need to. Thank you. Hoping this has been of interesting for you. Have a great day. Thanks.